Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we take a stack of sources and, well, pull out the absolute best nuggets to get you well-informed, fast.
That's the goal.
So today, we're tackling this really powerful idea. What if you could, take decades of hard-won experience from someone incredibly successful and boil it down into a set of actual usable guidelines for your own life, your own work?
That's exactly what we're exploring today with Ray Dalio's book, Principles, Life and Work. And it's way more than just a book, really. It's a whole framework.
A system?
Yeah, a system for looking at reality, figuring out what you want, and actually going after it. Personally, professionally, it doesn't matter.
And the timing of this book, when it came out in 2017, that was interesting, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. Think about it. Rapid tech change. Everyone's still kind of reeling from the 2008 crash.
Right.
Businesses were rethinking everything, and people were just, hungry for some solid guidance, something reliable in all that uncertainty.
Yeah, a new way to lead, maybe, or just navigate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Dalio, he had serious credibility. I mean, founder of Bridgewater Associates,
Huge hedge fund.
one of the biggest, most successful in the world.
Yeah.
And his management style was already kind of legendary, this whole radical transparency thing.
Open-mindedness, we'll get into that.
We will. But his authority, it wasn't just theoretical, It came from his own experience. Decades of experimenting, failing, learning, sometimes painfully,
I bet.
and adapting. All grounded in that pragmatic finance world perspective.
So why share it all? Why write the book? What was his, core mission?
Well, he basically wanted to distill everything that had worked for him, the core principles that guided his own success, both in life and at Bridgewater.
Okay.
And his aim wasn't just to tell his story. It was to offer a kind of universal framework, something you could use to figure out your own values, your own principles. And he really pushes this idea of seeing failure, not as an end, but as critical data, a learning opportunity.
Right, it's essential for growth.
Yeah. Essential. And building meaningful relationships through, truth. The book itself is this really interesting mix, part autobiography, part philosophy, and packed with practical strategies.
Which is why it still feels so relevant, I think, even today. Maybe especially today.
I'd say so. I mean, adaptability, resilience.
Yeah.
These aren't just corporate buzzwords anymore, are they?
No, they're survival skills.
Pretty much. And Dalio's focus on core values, that radical transparency we mentioned, and just making effective decisions, that's timeless stuff. It's a solid roadmap through all the complexity we're facing.
Oh, so if you're listening, what's the payoff from this deep dive?
We're basically giving you the shortcut. You get the core of Dalio's framework, the big ideas, some surprising bits maybe,
Yeah.
and practical insights you can actually start thinking about using. The goal is to help you handle complexity, handle uncertainty with a bit more clarity.
Okay, so where does he start? How does he build this foundation for success?
Right. So the central idea, the core argument, is actually pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Success in life, in business, whatever, isn't just luck. It comes from having a set of fundamental principles
Okay.
and rigorously sticking to them. They guide how you make decisions, how you act. They're like your operating system.
Gotcha. And he lays out a bunch of these. Where does he begin? What's principle number one, essentially?
The big one, the foundation, is embrace reality and deal with it.
Okay. Sounds simple, but probably isn't.
It's deceptively simple.
Yeah.
It's not about just passively accepting things. It's about actively seeking out the truth, especially the uncomfortable truth.
Like looking unflinchingly at a problem.
Exactly. He talks about Bridgewater's near collapse early on. They had to force themselves to confront the brutal facts of their mistakes, the market realities. It was painful, he says, but absolutely necessary for growth. It forces you to be pragmatic.
Okay, so you face reality. Then what?
Then he gives you a process, his 5-step process to get what you want in life. It's very systematic, almost like an algorithm for learning.
All right, break it down.
Okay, step 1. Set clear goals. Really nail down what you're aiming for. Step 2. Identify the obstacles. What's standing in your way? Be honest. Step 3, and this is key, diagnose the problems. Get to the root causes of those obstacles, not just the symptoms.
Okay.
Step 4, design plans to get around those obstacles based on your diagnosis. And finally, step 5, execute. Push through and do what's necessary. And it's a loop. You execute, you learn, you refine the goals or the diagnosis.
Constantly iterating.
Constantly. He uses tons of examples from his career to show how it works in practice.
Now, this next one feels a bit different. Be radically open-minded. That sounds good, but what does it really mean in practice?
Yeah, this one can feel counterintuitive. It means genuinely, actively seeking out and considering perspectives that are different from yours, even perspectives that challenge your core beliefs.
That's hard.
It is hard. But Dalio argues it's the only way to get past your own blind spots. By weighing different views, you make better informed decisions, you find more creative solutions. It's the engine behind what he calls an idea meritocracy at Bridgewater.
Okay, idea meritocracy. How does that work if everyone's different?
Well, that's the next principle, actually. Understand that people are wired very differently.
Oh.
You have to recognize and genuinely value that diversity. Different ways of thinking, different strengths, different weaknesses. He says leveraging those differences is how you build truly effective teams.
So you don't try to make everyone the same.
Exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
You figure out how people are wired. Bridgewater famously uses personality assessments, things like that, and put them in roles where their wiring is an advantage. Maximize that collective intelligence.
Which seems to lead directly into the Bridgewater culture cornerstone. Create a culture of radical transparency. This sounds intense.
It is intense. He argues for environments where honesty and openness aren't just like nice-to-haves. They're prioritized almost to an extreme.
Why? What's the benefit?
It builds trust, he says. It ensures accountability because nothing's hidden. Problems surface really quickly so you can deal with them. Ultimately, he believes it leads to much, much better performance. Everyone sees the same reality, warts and all.
Okay. And tied to that?
Be radically truthful. This is about honesty with yourself and with others. No sugarcoating, even when it's uncomfortable.
Oof. Tough conversations.
Definitely. But he sees it as foundational for strong relationships and good decisions. You have to get critical feedback out in the open. Tough realities need to be faced directly. That's the fastest way to improve, he argues.
Okay, this next one, I hear this quoted a lot. Pain plus reflection, progress.
Yeah, it's one of his most famous formulations, and
Yeah.
it's really a core philosophy for him.
So don't avoid pain.
Embrace it
I mean-
in a way. See painful experiences, failures, mistakes, setbacks as invaluable signals. The pain grabs your attention. And then the reflection on that pain, digging into what went wrong, that's where the learning happens. That's how you develop new principles to avoid repeating the mistake. It turns setbacks into upgrades.
So once you've reflected, learned something new, how do you actually make better choices going forward?
Right. That leads to his framework to make decisions effectively. It's not just gut feel, though intuition plays a part.
Okay.
It's combining that intuition, honed by experience, with really rigorous, data-driven analysis. Weighing options carefully, thinking hard about probabilities.
Almost like a scientist.
Kind of. He even talks about using algorithms sometimes to help overcome human biases. It's about being systematic and thinking through consequences and likelihoods.
And what about really big, complex problems where everything feels tangled together?
That's where understand the power of systems thinking comes in. Don't just look at a problem in isolation. See it as part of a larger system. How do the pieces connect? What are the feedback loops? This helps you find leverage points, find solutions that actually last, not just quick fixes. His background in economics really informs this.
Makes sense. And overarching all of this.
Two crucial traits. Recognize the importance of humility and adaptability. These aren't weaknesses, they're strengths.
Especially in, say, financial markets.
Exactly. He stresses how vital they were in his career. You need conviction, sure, but you also need the humility to know you might be wrong, and the adaptability to change course fast when the evidence changes. True humility is knowing your limits. True adaptability is acting on new information.
It's interesting how the book itself is structured to kind of mirror this journey. It's not just a list.
Not at all. He starts with his own story. The failures, the successes, that's the context, the why. Then he lays out the life principles, the big overarching ideas, and then he drills down into the work principles, applying them specifically to organizations. It flows really logically from personal discovery to broader application.
So digging a bit deeper, what are the really big, maybe philosophical themes running underneath all these specific principles?
Well, you definitely see this constant emphasis on principles-based decision-making. Having that clear framework is everything.
Yeah.
And radical transparency, not just as a business tactic, but almost as a moral imperative for healthy systems. Plus, the power of systematic thinking, looking at the whole machine, not just the sputtering part.
And that idea of learning keeps coming back.
Oh, constantly. That iterative learning loop, make a mistake, reflect, adjust the principle, try again. It's baked into everything. It's about building resilience, yes, but more than that, building adaptability. seeing every challenge as a chance to refine your approach.
And not just learning individually, right? He talks about teams.
Absolutely. The power of collective intelligence, that rigorous, honest debate, leveraging all those different perspectives we talked about, that's how you get to better answers than any one person could alone. It's about surfacing the best ideas, regardless of who they came from.
And he makes these themes feel real, not just abstract.
Totally. Through all those personal stories, especially the tough ones like the near collapse, you see the principles in action saving the company, and the diagrams, the flowcharts. They actually help make complex ideas feel graspable.
You mentioned the structure moves from personal to work. Do the themes shift too?
Yeah, subtly. It starts very much focused on you, the individual self-awareness, personal growth. But as it moves into the work principles, the lens widens. It becomes about how these same principles scale up to shape a whole organization's culture, drive innovation, build that idea, meritocracy.
Which gives it that broad appeal, I guess. It's not just for hedge fund managers.
Not at all. Transparency, adaptability, continuous learning, systematic thinking, these ideas resonate everywhere, especially maybe the emphasis on facing failure openly and communicating honestly. That feels really relevant right now, doesn't it?
Definitely. How does it stack up against other big books in this space? Like, is it similar to the Lean Startup or Good to Great?
It shares some DNA, for sure. The iterative learning in Lean Startup has echoes here.
Right.
But Dalio's blend is unique. It's so deeply personal, like a memoir, but also intensely practical, like a guidebook.
Yeah.
And the foundational focus on these explicit principles as your core operating system that feels different from, say, Good to Great, which analyzes successful companies more from the outside. Dalio's is more of an inside-out guide for anyone.
Okay, so let's make this super practical. If someone's listening right now, how can they actually use these ideas? What are some actionable strategies?
Right. First off, that idea of embracing reality with feedback loops. Make it a conscious practice. Actively seek out feedback from people, from results, from your own observations. Ask yourself, what's the real situation here? Use that feedback to constantly adjust your understanding, your decision. It's like calibrating your compass daily.
And the 5-step process, that seems directly applicable.
Totally. Next time you're facing any challenge, big or small, literally walk through it. 1, what's my goal? 2, what are the obstacles? 3, what's the real root cause? 4, what's my plan? 5, okay, now execute. It imposes discipline on problem solving.
What about fostering that radical transparency and open-mindedness? Maybe not easy in every environment.
Maybe not fully, but you can start small. Encourage open dialogue in your team, or even just in your conversations. Actively solicit different views. Challenge ideas constructively. And try that believability-weighted thinking when you get advice. Consciously consider the source's track record in that specific area. Give more weight to credible experts.
And that pain plus reflection progress formula. How do you do that?
When something goes wrong, resist the urge to just move on or blame. Force yourself to stop and reflect. Ask, what happened? Why? What principle, if any, did I violate or could I have used? What will I do differently next time? Turn the setback into a concrete lesson, maybe even write down a new principle for yourself.
So daily habits could look like?
Integrating those feedback loops. Maybe starting your day by quickly outlining your goals and potential problems, steps 1 and 2. Making a point to ask for differing views in meetings, and maybe ending the day with just 5 minutes of journaling. What went well, what didn't, why, and what's the lesson?
He also suggests specific exercises, right?
Yeah, like the pain reflection exercise.
Yeah.
Pick a recent painful event. Analyze it brutally honestly. What were the causes? What could you have done differently? What principle can you derive from it? Systematize that learning.
And the believability weighted decision tool that's more of a mental model.
Exactly. It's a habit of thought. Before acting on advice or input, just pause and ask. How credible is this person on this topic? What's their track record? It helps filter signal from noise.
And maybe the most fundamental exercise.
Principles writing. Just taking the time to actually articulate your core values, your decision-making criteria. What do you stand for? How do you want to operate? Writing them down makes them real and provides a guidepost. It's like creating your personal user manual.
And he backs us up with examples from Bridgewater, showing it works in the real world.
Constantly. He links their success directly to this culture. The transparency, the idea of meritocracy, the relentless focus on improvement through reflection. He argues that's why they excelled, especially through market turmoil. His own stories add that personal proof.
Okay, let's try and boil this down. Key takeaways from this deep dive.
I'd say number 1, success is driven by principles. It's not random. Number 2, radical truth and transparency are vital for trust in making good decisions. And number 3, maybe the most empowering, embracing failure and reflecting on pain is the path to growth.
And the really practical lessons.
Build environments where the best ideas win. Develop your own clear guiding principles. And use that 5-step process like a toolkit for tackling pretty much anything.
You can really see how this book could change how you think, how you operate.
Definitely. It challenges a lot of conventional wisdom about hiding mistakes or avoiding conflict. It really pushes a growth mindset, continuous learning, openness, making principled choices.
So who is this book really for, ultimately?
Honestly, anyone looking for a more effective, more intentional way to navigate life and work. Anyone who wants a system for dealing with challenges, for achieving goals. Anyone looking to learn from someone who's achieved extraordinary results through a very deliberate approach.
And how might someone grow from really engaging with these ideas?
I think you become more self-aware, more objective, more resilient. You start seeing problems not just as obstacles, but as puzzles to be solved through principle and process.
And we should acknowledge applying some of this like radical transparency. That's not always simple, is it? Context matters.
Absolutely. It's a huge challenge. Dalio provides the framework, but figuring out how to implement it in your specific environment, finding that balance between sticking to the principle and adapting flexibly, that's the ongoing work. It's a journey.
Right, it's not a magic formula you just plug in everywhere.
Exactly. Which brings us to a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on.
Okay.
Think about a recent painful experience. Could be small, could be big. A mistake, a setback, a tough conversation. Now, really try to apply Dalio's formula. Pain plus reflection. Progress. What insight, what potential principle for your own life can you extract from that experience starting right now?
That's a great challenge. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Ray Dalio's principles. We hope it gives you some powerful tools for your own journey.